What's going on, everybody? This is Al from PlaybookGamer.com, and today we're going to look at the Marshall Air Raid Playbook in College Football 25. This is an amazing collection of air raid concepts, RPOs, option, with a ton of variety and personnel and formation. It's just like a hodgepodge of things, but the air raid is at its core, which is great. There's some playbooks in this game that are labeled air raid that are really not. This one has more air raid than you can handle with a bunch of other fun stuff thrown in. So we're going to cover all of that today. We're going to look at the formations, concepts, play types, and personnel, and hopefully by the end of the video, you have a good idea of what this playbook is all about. So let's start off with the formations. The bulk of the playbook will be shotgun. We will cover that last. We have one pistol formation, that is Y off trips. That's 11 personnel with the one back and one tight end. 21 plays here. And if you notice here, it's run, play, action. You got a little RPO built in. I would treat this as a situational formation. There's not a lot of air raid concepts in this formation. You got stick. That's one of the very few. All go, that's your 6. You got basic draw, but curl flats. You got, again, another RPO built in right there. So it just, again, treat this as a situational deal, especially if you really want to go all in on the air raid. But it's nice to go do something a little bit different than from the shotgun. We have a single back formation. That is wing pair, 9 plays. It is a 13 personnel formation. 3 tight ends are out there, all of them on the right side. And we got an air raid concept. We got stick, we got some play action, we got just basic inside zone. Again, just more play action. You got drive. Again, treat this as another situational ordeal where you just want to kind of throw something a little different at the defense. So I'm going to call this a little RPO. I love calling RPOs from the oddball formations because they're just different, because everybody and their brother usually does it from the shotgun. But here's a very simple RPO. It's like an alert screen by the receiver on the left. If the corner is way off of him like he is here, I can just throw it to him really hard, and we could pick up some decent yards here if possible. Easy 7 yards right there. But if the corner is bumped on him like you see right here, I would just hand the ball off to the halfback and just pick up whatever yards you can. Very simple stuff. So that's our first little bit of RPO we're going to see, because, again, we're going to have a ton of it in here for it being an air raid playbook. So that's it for the single back formation. We even have a wildcat formation. It's unbalanced. This is the most popular formation, wildcat-wise, in the game, and it's the main jet sweep series. The jet sweep, the play action, and the reverse pass on top of that. So even with all this variety, with 11 personnel, we got a pistol, then we got a single back 13 personnel formation, and we got a wildcat. We haven't even touched the big stuff yet. That is the shotgun. So let's start here. Split slot offset. This is a 20 personnel formation, 9 plays. This is going to be a staple air raid formation, which we'll go back to here in a minute. And then we get into a 12 personnel formation, ace offset, 15 plays there. That's one back, 2 tight ends. Then we get our first 11 personnel formation of the day from the shotgun, doubles Y off week, 21 plays. And then we got stack Y off trips week, wing trips week, trips tight end offset, double stack. That is another 11 personnel formation. And then we get into our first 10 personnel. So these are not the only 11 personnel formations we will see today. We're going to go through here and let's talk about this spread offset formation. This is technically a run and shoot formation, but you got some air raid stuff in here. But 15 plays, this is your first 4 wide look. Then we go back to an 11 personnel formation by default, spread Y flex. Your tight end, number 81, is out in the slot. Then we got bunch open offset, another 11 personnel, because again, your tight end is still out there. This is a fun little play. Got some cool RPOs in it. Then we got trips, heading back to the 4 wide look, 18 plays there. Then we got the weak version of that. So you got a ton of true 4 wide stuff. So if I'm an air raid guy and I want to run this offense, I want to make sure I have at least some 4 wide formations in here. Yes, you can do air raid from the 11 personnel if you wanted to, but I don't, just for me, when it comes to air raid, when I think of that, I just think of that 4 wide stuff right there. So we got a 5 wide formation, true 5 wide receiver. It's the 5 receivers as you see out there, as you can tell. 12 plays, that's a rare formation. Not a lot of playbooks have this one. And now we're back to split slot offset. So we're going to look at 2 different things as I go through here. One, I like to look for the pre-snap motion mini series. Those are nice drive starters or things you can base your scheme around, and we're going to kind of hint at some of the air raid concepts that are in here. So we've seen this formation plenty of times before. Split slot offset has a ton of pre-snap motion. We got a swing, we got a play action, a double pass, we got an inside zone, we got a motion PAY cross, we got a double post. Y cross is an air raid staple. I'm going to call that. Let's go up against a nickel. As you see right here, we got a few options. Let me see if they're going to blitz off that left side. Oh, yeah, it's a play action. I forgot. We could try that one more time. Let's see if I can make this look halfway decent. Remember, this is play action. I should know this by now. Let's see. Oh, get that. Intercepted. Either way, just a really cool play. If you need a play action for the Y cross, well, there you go. You keep on going. We got a motion spot, we got a triple option play, and we got another motion Y cross. You may want to use this one instead because it is non-play action. It's a little quicker. You can get the pass out a little bit easier if needed. Can I squeeze that in? I always try to, I love him that Y cross if possible. Either way, that's the one I would use more often. So there's some air raid stuff in that formation and some pre-snap motion. Ace offset, we got a jet sweep. We got a halfback slip screen with a Z motion built into it. That's a unique combination of things. I'm actually going to select that. And let's see, the whole play is designed for the halfback, so I'll probably force it on him. Of course, there's other guys you can throw to on this one. I'm just kind of throw it over here. Can I get good blocking? It's not too bad. Either way, it's pretty cool to throw that at them, especially that little window dressing before the snap. You keep on going. We have Y sail, air raid staple. Then you got P read, just basic stuff right here. I think that's it for the pre-snap motion. You keep on going. Doubles, Y off week. We got more jet sweep. So this has got a lot of pre-snap motion built into it as well. 8 shallow cross. This is a air raid staple. I love this one. Shallow cross, if you need a dig instead of an extra drag for like mesh and stuff, you can go over here. You can pick up some easy yardage. We're going to get 6 points on this one. Really nice. Really cool stuff there. H cross is really good. That's your left slot receiver. That's why they call it that, H shallow cross. Then you got some other things built in here. Let's see. And we'll cover the air raid stuff a little bit more closely in the concept side of things. But let's look for more of the pre-snap motion. Here's another jet sweep mini series. We got the pass power. That's a quarterback run. We got a verticals look. And we got the halfback handoff. We got the actual jet sweep, the play action on top of that. We got a fake sweep on that. And you got some other things built in here as well. What about Y off trips? Do we have any here? We got tight end motion, PA motion slide, zone split, read option. You keep on going. What about Y off trips week? Do we have any here? Let's see. Yes, we do. Halfback swing. We got a swing. We got a Z spot. We got the pump and go to build onto that. What about wing trips week? Do we got any pre-snap motion here? We do not. Trips, tight end offset. Normally these types of formations don't have any pre-snap motion. I don't know how often you'll use this one, but it has some air raid stuff in it, like there's stick. Let me go back and look. Let's say we got a stick. We got sail. That's another tight end or another air raid concept. Double stack. There's only 9 plays here. There's normally not any pre-snap motion, but it's all like really RPO based. But it's a fun little thing to throw at a defense. Then we get into the spread offset. We're finally going to see some like true old school air raid. So there is basic Y cross, smash cross. Let's see what else. We got smash verticals. That's got a bit of a run and shoot feel to it. Smash corners. Of course, that's been around for the longest time. Draw is going to be very important to you in your offense. And this will probably is where you'll start with your air raid offense, at least if I was doing it, because it's got Y corner, Y cross, mesh, Y shallow cross, 6-17, 8 shallow cross, drive, smash halfback check. We even got a jet sweep built into it. There's basic Y stick, Y sail. I mean, all go. That's your 6 right there. You got a slip screen. This is the base formation of the entire playbook, in my opinion, if you're going to go air raid. This is why you pick the playbook to at least run some air raid with other stuff built into it. Okay, bunch open offset. This is a nice little change up. I love these little alert outs with the little bubble on the other side. I'm going to go ahead and call something random here. So you just kind of read the numbers on one side and you see the corner built off of the receiver on the left. I actually don't like, I don't know, let's see. Go over here. Yep, that's going to be a good decision. Just pick up a few yards there. We could try that one more time, see what else we got. So I feel like we're outnumbered on the bubble on the right side. I like the corner. He's way off my receiver, so I'll probably throw back to him again, pick up some really easy yardage. Again, that's one of my favorite RPOs is because it's all pre-snap based. That way you don't have to decide too much post-snap. All right, trips. We got 18 plays here. This will be your trips version. This will be your complement to what you've done with spread Y flex, even though trips is a 4-wide based. But again, it's got stick, you got a slot drive, you even got some RPOs built into it. You even got a triple option play right there. Trips halfback weak. This actually complements trips. You're just moving your halfback over. But look, there's stick, there's sail. There is, let's see, switch. That's a little run and shoot. Curls, all go is in there. I mean, halfback direct, if you like that. There's more stick. There's smash, more stick, dragon flood or strong flood. Then you got your 5 wide receiver. Look, shallow cross. That's air raid. Double pivot's a very popular play. Just because the pivot routes are pretty lethal in here. Let me go ahead and let's try this out. Yep, wide open, very easy. I went to the side with the least amount of defenders, which was on the right side on that one. Really cool there. But I love the variety here. I can go 5 wide if needed. So that is it for all the shotgun. Let's talk about the personnel. Let's go up to the very top. So this is another positive to this playbook. I have a ton of variety here. Plenty of 11 personnel as we expected. 30 or 23 personnel. That's your goal line. 20, you do have one. It's split slot offset. 10 personnel, you got a few formations. Spread offset, trips, and trips halfback weak. We got a wildcat. 32 is your QB kneel. 21 is your clock. 13, you got one. Wing pair. 12 personnel, you got one. Ace offset. 5 wide, you got one. So, I mean, there's what, 6 or 7 different types of personnel groupings there, which I think is really cool. That's my type of playbook, especially when you just don't know how recruiting is going to go. Maybe your third best player will be that tight end, or it'll be a third receiver, or what have you, or a second halfback. You'll have something to work with that if needed. All right, let's talk about the actual concepts. I've hinted at some of these already, especially on the air raid side, but you notice the play count here. This isn't the biggest playbook in the world, which is completely fine. It feels, what's interesting is there's so much stuff in here for as small of a playbook as it is. So it seems like it's more efficient with the amount of stuff it has. But let's start off with the runs. So you got 4 counters. You got 17 inside zones. This is going to be your base running concept. We got a couple ISOs. We got 5 power. That will go with those counters right there if you choose to use them. But notice when you add your power and your counter, that's still barely half of inside zone. We got 8 draws. You're going to do a lot of drop back. This is the air raid. If you're going to do that, you got to implement some of these draws. I think draws work pretty well in this game. And now watch, I may get swallowed up here. But either way, I think these work pretty well. Again, just perfect change ups to all the drop back that you will be doing. Implement those. I highly suggest it. Outside zone. This will complement that inside zone we looked at. There's 4 of them. Then we got a couple sweeps. We got a couple traps, and we even have a true reverse. Let's look at the option. Notice we got more option plays than basic runs, and believe it or not, it's a ton of RPOs. Look at all these RPO peaks. We got 7 of them. Peak is probably my least favorite, but then they throw in like this RPO peak wide receiver screen, which means it's not really a peak. It's more of an alert with a, I don't know. Anyway, I like it. I'm a big alert out guy. And then you got some Y pop built in. Inverted feared, you got 3 of those. I'm not really good at those, but if you like them, they're there. You got 1 load option, which is speed. Read option, you got 12 of these. This is just a classic zone read. Then you got that speed option again. There's those 2 triple options. That's that 1 out of 2 back look. And then we got the QB slot option if you want to get your wide receiver involved. Then we got zone option. There's that speed again, which is technically the same as that one right there, but just from a different formation. Then we got 7 RPO reads. We got the Y flat. Everybody loves that RPO. There's my alert out. I love the bubbles built into it. Here is a double bubble. Then we'll call it that, but I'm going to go ahead against, we'll go up against dime here. Here looks like their defense is pretty even, so I'm going to just pick a side. And if that bubble's not open, I will just hand the ball off to the halfback, something like this. Cut up field, get a few yards if possible. Either way, it's in there if you need it. You don't see too many double bubbles, RPOs in this game, but they're in there. But then we got 15 RPO alerts. This is my favorite grouping of the bunch. All those little alert outs. I love the shocks, the slot receiver going on the fade. That's very 2019 LSU-esque. Then those are the alert screens. Those are your basic bubbles. Again, these are my favorites. I love them to death. And you got a good variety of them right here. So look at all this RPO stuff built in with all the air raid concepts. Pretty cool. Now let's get into actual air raid concepts. Let's go to quick passing. So you got a few Ohios. You got 1 scant. You got 11 slant. That's actually a pretty high number, but if you notice, a lot of these have the word stick with it. You got a 1 spacing, and you got 11 sticks. So you're going to mix it up between slant and stick, or if you want to stick to the true air raid, just stick to all these stick concepts. Plenty of them, though, more than what you'd ever need. Let's look at the mediums. So the bulk of your air raid attack will come from here. We got 2 slot crosses, but if you notice what a slot cross looks like, it looks no different than Y cross, which is a deep pass concept. We got 2 of them. You got 4 choices, pretty much any type of play that's got an option around, they're going to dump it here. You got 10 curls, just any type of curl or a hitch of some sort. Notice most of these are true curls built in here. Then we got 4 double moves. We got 5 drives. So here is where we're going to get into some drags and digs. You got 5 of these. So you got the dig and the drag going in the same direction. And notice Y stick. They even dumped it here for whatever reason. Levels for these. Then you got levels is just like a drive on steroids. Then you got, it says we only got 2 mesh, which we actually got more than that. A lot of these are kind of mixed and matched and whatnot. It says we got a pivot, but we saw a double pivot earlier. So again, you don't have to completely trust how they group some of this. But it says we got 3 mesh. We got 6 shallow cross. That's going to go really well with those drives. Then we got 14 smash. So you kind of decide which type of smash you like. Do you like the corner flat? Do you like the hitch flag, like the smash halfback check? That's probably the one I would use the most just because it's more air raidish. Then it says we got 5 spots. So these are technically wide corners in a sense. Wide corner is pretty much that slot receiver running a corner route. That's what you see right there. And then you got a couple of Texas routes. So if you go to deep pass, it says we got 10 flood. This is going to be a lot of your Y sail. Notice there's Y sail. Look at flood, halfback swing. There's not a lot of difference between the two. It's still that slot receiver kind of running an out route. I'm going to call this basic sail over here. We'll go up against a dime. And let's see, I will probably read it over here. Let's see, can I hit him? Yep, wide open. Good deal. Y sail, baby, air raid. You can't get enough of it. So pretty much any slot deep out route, they're pretty much going to dump that as a sail concept, but they're going to dump it here in the floods where you see here we got 10 of them. We got 10 comebacks, so pretty much any type of play that's got a comeback route, minus this red zone scissors. Why they dumped it as comeback, I have no idea. 3 daggers. We got a couple divides, 7 double posts, but notice all that slot cross, which is Y cross. Verticals, we're going to have plenty of these, as we should. Got a couple of meals, but notice 8 shallow cross. That's shallow cross, but they dump it there because you got that post and the dig underneath it. Got a couple of Portlands. We got 15 shot plays, and you got 5 switches. So all the air raid stuff is there, but just be mindful. Even though it says you only got a couple mesh, we actually got a little bit more than that. You just have to go find them in different areas. You just go pick your formations that has them. Trust me, they're in there. Let's go to play action. We got some in here, more than you would think. It says we got 4 boots and we got 5 slides. And when it comes to screens, we got 12 bubbles, but notice a lot of these are the RPOs we've already looked at. It says we got 10 flanker screens, and it got a couple mid screens. However, this is an air raid offense, which means the screen game is super important. So if you go over to play type, you go to pass, and you go to screen pass, we got 20 old school screens, true screens, halfback slip screens, split end screens, jailbreak screens, non-RPO screens will go right here. So if you take that number, 20, and you add in the 29 RPOs that we have, that is almost 50 screenplays. So that's another way to look at it. That's the way I would view it. So you got more ways to run screen however you wish. Do you want to do an old school way? Do you want to do the non-RPO way? You can do that. Or you can use all of these almost 30 RPOs and have fun doing screens that way. So I like you got the variety. You could pick and choose which ones you want. You could do one or the other, or you could do both. So if you go back up to pass and you go to play action, we actually got 33 play action plays. That's actually quite high for what this type of offense is, but there's plenty of them there if you need them. But if you go look at shotgun pass, I normally don't look at this, but there's 114 of them. This is what you're going to be doing a lot. You're going to be in the shotgun. You're going to be doing a lot of drop backs. So the bulk of your passing game will come right here, as you can see, just a crazy variety of great things. Again, mostly of this is going to be all of the air raid stuff that we've been looking at. Standard pass is all your single back stuff or your under center. You don't have to worry too much about that. But let's talk about the runs a little bit different. Let's look at inside handoffs. We got 28 of these. Again, the bulk of your run game is going to be this right here. It says we got 5 outside handoffs. We got a couple pitches. Those are those counters we looked at. The draws are going to be just as important as those inside handoffs. Again, it's an inside handoff, but it's a fake pass in a sense. We got 1 fullback quick run, but we got a little bit QB power. We got the jet fake look, and we got a QB blast out of 5 wide. I'm gonna go ahead and call that one while we're here. Really cool. Just go in here and you can pick up some easy yard. Ooh, nice little spin there. Probably didn't need to dive, but either way, it's in there if you need it. Again, just a great variety for a playbook that isn't super huge. Let's back out of here. So we got 19 true option plays. More than what you would need. Most of it's the read option. We don't have a ton of speed option. We got a couple of triple option plays. But if you need to run any type of option, you're probably going to just do the reads. And then we already looked at all these RPOs. You know, you got your 5 reads, your 9 peaks, and you got all of these alerts, which I love to death. So again, if you like an air raid offense that's got plenty of air raid, it has plenty of RPOs, and it has plenty of option, and it's got all of the screenplays, and it's got a little bit of everything. And I love that it's got a ton of variety in personnel groupings. I love it. It's got a ton of variety in formations. 1, 2, 3. I love it. The variety for it being air raid, I think, is excellent. I think you're going to enjoy it. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later.